All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen, amen.
Gee. I kind of get.
Well, negotiations, right? Politics.
And we're out of time. So you.
Hey, y'all, gravity, any day above ground, live it.
I'm back.
All right. We're going to try not to be too long on here. Pause. Because, you know, we got to get ready for 6 o'clock. But, yeah, 2 days. These tariffs are kicking in. What Trump like to call Liberation Day. I don't know what the hell that means, but okay. He think he gonna save the country. He think he gonna save the country from the world taken from us, even though we have done the live that shows how corporations have become bigger than the government. But today, what we're gonna do for you is we're going to explain what's going up, what sectors, and we're going to show you how bad it really is. Hey, MAGA, is this all the winning you told us about? Interesting. But before we get into that, let's see who's in the building. Jerry Bradford, hello. Miss Nisi, hello. Stolen Ancestors, hello. Don P, hello. Carlton Way, hello. Gamers Den, hello. Kira Clark, hello. Kelvin Black, hello. Cosmo Fury, hello. Don P, hello. Weldon Johnson X, William Moran, hello. And Wallow J, you can kiss my ass. Because yes, I will be late because I'm the star of the show that day. When my funeral happens and y'all sitting there, they're going to play this before the music ends. Get to work! I need to see that praise dancing. And when And when the dude who's eulogized, well, the pastor boy, because I know because we Jamaican, we're gonna have to have a pastor there, unfortunately. When they said let everybody say amen, y'all say this.
Pause. He paused. I said pause, nigga.
I need everybody in the room to say that. You heard what I said. If you don't do it, I'm haunting all of y'all. Thank you so much. But all right, let's get into it, family, because we're going to have fun with this. But you know what we have to do, the customary house cleaning.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purpose, such as criticism, commenting, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, education, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
This is way over the edge. Like we it's not even over the edge. We died already.
This is beyond the event horizon. Like we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah, we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah.
All right, let's begin here, family. Let's begin here. Now, for those who were here over the summer and mid part of the fall, you heard me say that something very specific was going to go up thanks to these tariffs when we were doing those lives in the car, and you had them trolls come in here trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Well, I know you're not going to be here, but you know, just for S and G's, you can SMD.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Pause. What does that say? Well, let's look. This is from USA Today. This came out today. Add auto insurance to the list of things increasing in price with Trump's tariffs. Huh. Yeah! Well, look at that. Prices for some cars and auto parts are the only things that are likely to go up with auto tariffs, which are expected to go into effect on April 2nd. Add auto insurance to that list, too. Starting April 2nd, President Donald Trump is set to impose a 25% tariff on imported passenger vehicles, light trucks, and some auto parts. For imported cars protected by the U.S., Mexico, Canada, United States, Mexico-Canada agreement, only the foreign parts that make up the vehicle will be subject to the tariff, which is most of the parts, but they're not going to tell you that. The national average cost of full coverage car insurance could increase by 8% by the end of the year with the tariffs in effect, according to an analysis by Insurify. The average insurance premium will go from $2,313 to $2,502. The cost is likely higher since the analysis was done before President Donald Trump imposed 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel and announced the updated auto tariffs. Trump had agreed to postpone until early April tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada that fall under the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, free trade deal he signed in 2019. They make up 50% of Mexican goods coming into the U.S. and 38% of those from Canada. Without the 25% tariffs on imports, Insurify projected car insurance to increase 5% year over year. Huh. Huh. But they said I was crazy when I said it. Yes, Wallow J, every insurance agency is going up. Yes, including State Farm. Many consumers are worried about how the tariffs will affect the cost of their goods, but many aren't thinking about how services they pay for will also be impacted. Matt Brennan, Insurify data journalist who completed the analysis, told USA Today. Might not be intuitive to people that the tariffs would end up raising people's car insurance rates. And the main way they do that is because tariffs would increase the price of car parts, he said. The cost of car insurance is based in part on the cost of car parts. 1/5 of the cars and light trucks sold in the U.S. come from Canada and Mexico, Insurify said. And the U.S. imports roughly 32% of its total auto parts from Canada and Mexico. Still want to tell me that the corporations aren't bigger than the government? If State Farm told you that, that's a lie. According to data released in February by the American Property Casualty Insurance Agency, about six out of every 10 auto replacement parts used in U.S. auto shops are imported from Mexico, Canada, and China. If parts become more expensive, car owners will pay more each time they need something fixed, the association said. Tariffs will also increase the price of new cars. According to Wolf Research, the tariffs would likely raise the cost of new cars by around $3,000. The average new car costs $48,641, according to Wolf, which estimate tariffs would raise the price to $51,641. Car insurance rates are based on both replacement costs after an accident as well as the overall cost of a car, said Brandon. Even if auto insurance tried to source a part made in the U.S. instead of one imported from Mexico or Canada with a tariff tacked on, it might not be cheaper, Brandon said. The reality is that a lot of times these companies in the U.S. will know that the insurer can't pay a cheaper price like they used to in the past, so they'll also tend to raise their prices. Still want to tell me the corporations aren't bigger than the government? Based on existing auto insurance rates, New York will see the highest cost increase insurance rates at Brand. The cost of annual coverage will increase by $489 by the end of the year, with $110 of that increase directly attributed to tariffs. Tariffs are expected to increase rates in all states based on Insurify's estimates. Without tariffs, Insurify projects car insurance rates would decrease or remain flat in 5 states: Vermont, New Hampshire, Hawaii, New Mexico, and Idaho. Consumers are not likely to see any increases to auto insurance rates until the end of the year, since most insurers have to get approval from state regulators to increase premiums, and that takes time, Brandon said. We expect those price increases would show up when drivers renew their policies or switch to a new insurer rather than in the middle of a 6-month coverage period, he said. So if I was y'all, I would start researching. But you let them tell it. They know everything, right? They out there worrying about Michael Bird getting arrested and tried. They worry about Derek Chauvin getting pardoned. They not out there telling these people about this. What did that whole Steven Crowder say today? I want to show you what his show was about. I'm going to tell y'all. Let me see if I can find that notification. Here we go. Social Security scandal. How elites used illegals to game the American system. That's what you're talking about. That's what you're talking about. What did he talk about on Friday? Did Ezra Klein red pill Jon Stewart, JD Vance, and Greenland? That's what you're talking about. Oh, brother man, to you, they will. Don't worry, they will. April 2nd, they're gonna start writing off them letters. You watch. But again, they're gonna tell you they have to wait to see what their state regulators say. See, when my rate went up, I called my insurance and they said, yeah, it's because of inflation. So they already knew. we're gonna go down that rabbit hole. We can talk about the fruits and vegetables, we will. But I want to show y'all this. Goodyear seen as winner in Trump tariff war, Deutsche Bank says. Let's see. Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company could be a relative winner from President Donald Trump's announced tariffs on car imports, as most of its U.S. demand is from domestic manufacturers, and tires aren't included in the planned levies, at least for now, according to Deutsche Bank, which upgraded tire seller from buy to hold. To buy from hold, sorry. Any negative impact on new vehicle sales should be tempered by a significantly higher mix of better margin replacement tires, writes analyst Edison Yu, who resumed coverage on Goodyear in December. All in, there remains risk on execution, but we believe the company is well situated operationally to outperform recurrent valuations at trough levels. Shares rose as much as 3.3% on Monday, but are down more than 30% from a peak hit almost a year ago. Piers, AutoZone Inc. and O'Reilly Automotive Inc. are also trading higher Monday. The bullishness comes after Goodyear's steady progress in its cost-cutting program, with Deutsche Bank noting that the company has also closed the sale of its off-the-road tire business, announced the sale of its Dunlop intellectual property, and reiterated the expectation that its chemicals divestiture should be complete before the end of this calendar year. You sees future gains ahead for the stock. He maintains a $13 price target, which implies a nearly 50% jump for where the shares closed on Friday, ranks amongst the highest on Wall Street. The average 12-month is about $12. Goodyear is currently trading at $8.95. Stock has also 5 buys, 5 holds, and 0 sell ratings. Our conversations with the company have given further confidence that it's necessary traction to achieve its targeted $1.5 billion in cost savings and margin improvement by the end of 2026. So they're saying because Goodyear is domestic that they ain't gonna touch it. But here's my problem with this. Goodyear, though it's a domestic company, most people are not buying Goodyear tires. And Trump and them understand this. Most people are getting their tires from either Germany or the Far East. Your Kumos, your Toyos, what they call it. What was that other one? Shit. I forgot the other one's called. Those are imported. Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. Okay, so here is, I don't know if it's this one. Let me see. No, that's not it. So here we go. Impact of tariffs on tires. Tires. Big expense, especially come summertime in the winter. Now, again, these fools are not addressing the supply chain. That's another big reason why there's tariffs. But, you know. What are tariff rates on tires? Many countries, including the U.S. and members of the European Union, have imposed tariffs on imported tires. These tariffs mainly affect different tire brands from countries like China. In the U.S., tariffs are still in place as part of the Trump administration trade protection policies. Some tires from China are taxed as much as 25%. These tariffs were introduced to address concerns about unfair trade practices. One such issue was the dumping of tires at low prices. Beat the tariff hike with our wide range of all-terrain tires, which, you know, they always tell you to go buy all-terrains. And this is all their tire brands. Yeah, the Pirellis. There's another big one on here. Yeah, like I said, Kumos, the Hankook from Korea, Firestone, which I like to know. There's the Dunlops, Cooper Tires. Mm, mm, mm. All right, let's get to the food. Where is it?
You know, let me go here. There's I'm gonna move on. There's a growing concern in.
So I read this morning. This was kind of crazy. And I also find it funny that a few of these articles I've read so far, it was AAPI reporting on it. Might be a rabbit hole I might have to look into. Trump's tariffs and trade wars threaten our food security. As the U.S. braces for the effects of 25% import tariffs on Canada and Mexico, which are scheduled to take full effect on April 2nd, here's what to know about international trade and our food supply, how tariffs work, and how increased costs and decreased demand for American goods on the global market will affect farmers, food processors, and grocery prices in the coming months. That's a crazy picture they put up. The U.S. is among the world's leading agriculture exporters, selling 174 billion in raw, semi-processed, and processed food to foreign markets in 2024. But we still import a significant portion of our food. Imports make up 17.3% of food and beverage consumption in the U.S. in 2022. Canada and Mexico are the United States' first and third largest suppliers of agricultural products. Number 2 is China. In 2023, Mexico accounted for 23% of all agricultural imports to the U.S., and Canada supplied 19%. Mexico is the largest supplier of fruit and vegetables to the U.S., including strawberries, raspberries, and avocados. In 2022, Mexico provided 51% of U.S. fresh fruit imports and 69% of fresh vegetable imports. Canada is a major source of grain, livestock, and meats, poultry, oilseeds, and specialty items like maple syrup. China is a major supplier of seafood, garlic, apple juice, teas, and spices. Since Mexico, Canada, and China are key suppliers of agricultural imports, tariffs targeting these countries will likely contribute to rising grocery prices. The 8 states that get at least 2/3 of their imports from Mexico, Canada, and China will be impacted most by Trump's tariffs: Montana, New Mexico, Vermont, Michigan, Maine, North Dakota, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. Overall, levying higher tariffs on our most valuable trade partners are predicted to create negative effects on the economy. By the way, the Dow was down sharply. The Tax Foundation estimates that 309,000 full-time job losses are expected before accounting for regular retaliatory tariffs, as well as a reduction in gross domestic product, or GDP, and increased consumer prices on $1.4 trillion worth of imports. The Budget Lab estimates that tariffs on Canada, China, and Mexico will result in an annual loss of approximately $1,250 in purchasing power per household, coupled with higher prices on domestic goods, since American producers will have less competition from imported goods and a 1.8% increase on fresh produce, including fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Did you hear that, honey? Your walnuts finna go up 2%. Isn't that wonderful? The National Bureau of Economic Research has announced its finds that tariffs imposed during Trump's first term caused a substantial decline in U.S. agriculture and food exports and reduced American companies' market value by $1.7 trillion. But again, this is their man. Well, technically, Michigan is not a red state. Technically. And Maine's not either. Or Vermont. Even though they're leaning that way, but then they're still technically blue. The bottom line, higher tariffs, especially coupled with retaliatory tariffs, reduce our household purchasing power, increases on all purchases, including groceries, and result in lost jobs and higher unemployment. Despite the abundance of food grown in the U.S., the variety of food we produce is more limited than the average American diet. Most fresh produce, including fruit, vegetables, and nuts, seafood, cooking oil, and coffee, are imported from other countries. Remember when I told them about all that fish and oysters and lobster and shrimp they love? All that shit is imported. Y'all love y'all salmon so much. Canada. Oh, them pistachios going up to $5, and knowing them, they got to put their little something on. It's probably going to go to about $5.50. The U.S. exports approximately 20% of its agricultural products, including grain and animal feed, oil seeds and cooking oils, livestock, meat, and animal products, and horticultural products, a broad category that might include anything from wine to plant seedlings to fresh fruit and essential oils. Tariffs affect the food system in multiple ways, and the effect is uneven across all categories because the U.S. does not grow all the food we eat. In the simplest terms, the food system is complex, interconnected, and varies by community, city, county, and state. Any change at any point in the food system creates ripple effects in the rest of the food system. Fertilizers are going to go up. Food safety may be impaired as domestic supply stretches to meet demand. That means they're going to start cutting corners just to get food out to market. We may have a rush of foodborne illnesses and recalls, which means what? They'll get to destroy food, which means what? The price is going to go up. Here we go. When legitimate import channels become prohibitively expensive, sophisticated black market operations emerge that specifically target food supply chains. These operations present unique food safety hazards as products may be transported without temperature monitoring or verification. Traceability documentation is often falsified, eliminating the ability to conduct recalls, and products may be washed through multiple intermediaries to obscure origin. Food banks, SNAP, WIC, and other nutrition assistance programs expect deep cuts. But this is all the winning they told us that was going to happen. Did you just love all this winning? No, Wallow J, that's going to cause more people. It's going to go up. Because again, they like to tell you it's the wholesale prices that it should be cheaper. It's not cheaper. They're going to have to raise their stuff. That's why I said the other day, watch your favorite fast food restaurant start slowly raising them prices. Let's see how it looks from the congressional side.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Well, look at that. Remember what I told y'all the other day that them Republicans are going to start revolting on MAGA? Well, there you go. I'll make a prediction. How much you would have bet all them idiots that be paying for X so they could get a check after about 30 days? When they get rid of that system and then they can't get paid off of that no more, how much you want to bet they're going to be outside complaining about prices? I already caught Pancakes doing it. and a couple other of them big accounts. But then they want to try to blame Democrats. Hey, you got to blame them Republicans too. But let's see what the Republicans are doing. According to Politico, they're saying they're scrambling to shield their states from Trump's next wave of tariffs. Let's see. Swaths of Republicans on Capitol Hill are scrambling to shield their states from Donald Trump's next wave of tariffs, a sign of the private alarm in the president's party about the impacts of his trade agenda. Trump has promised his rollout of global tariffs on April 2nd will amount to a liberation day for the American economy, but dozens of GOP lawmakers worry privately that another round of tariffs will raise prices on U.S. consumers, cripple American farmers, or rattle the stock market. They forgot to add that they're going to be out of a job next year. But they said everything was going to drop. First, they told us everything was going to drop. Now they're putting up charts about the wholesale price. Like every American can go buy their food wholesale. Let me help you. Yeah, you can go find somewhere like a Sam's Club or a Restaurant Depot. You can buy that whole joint of beef. Do you know how to break it down to be usable multiple times to save yourself some money? Do you have the equipment like a vacuum packer to put that stuff away? Answer is probably not. And it doesn't matter even at that point, even if you had the money to go buy it, with these tariffs coming up on Wednesday, you're going to pay more for that piece of equipment. Something else they forgot to tell you, especially with this electronics equipment. As you know, when you buy electronics, sometimes they ask you, what do you want to pay for the warranty / insurance on it in case it breaks? That's going to go up. Assurant, I'm pretty sure, is going to send out an email very soon saying they're going to have to raise their prices due to the tariffs. But these fools online are not going to tell you this. They're just going to dunk on liberals and talk about how Serena Williams looked. Hey, you shouldn't be sleeping with liberal women. That's what they're worried about. In anticipation, they are coordinating with various industry groups to push the administration, industry groups, aka lobbyists, to push the administration for exemptions that protect key local industries from that kind of pain. They're also trying to effectively void some of the tariffs on key products once they go into effect, lined up to push Trump officials for so-called exclusions. The quiet maneuvering, which is not so quiet, signals the heightened anxiety among Republicans about the next phase of his trade wars and the political pitfalls ahead for the president and his party. 4 Republicans with direct knowledge of the strategy, granted anonymity to discuss the private conversations, described the behind-the-scenes planning as concerted and targeted. Fueling their anxiety, GOP lawmakers don't yet know the full scope of what Trump has dubbed reciprocal tariffs and possibly other duties the White House is preparing to unveil Wednesday. The president and top aides have said they will calculate different tariff rates for the country's major trading partners based on the barriers other countries put on U.S. imports. But they have yet to detail any figures or say which countries will be hit, and even many White House aides remain in the dark. Interesting. We move on because we actually have the article with that. We're going to show you. And this is why I also said this man needs to keep his mouth shut. As they attempt to head off the worst of the initial hit from the reciprocal tariffs, some congressional Republicans are coordinating with powerful private sector groups, private sector, as well as conservative leading agricultural lobbyists and other representatives of affected industries. The hope is to pressure administration officials to limit the tariff scope and incorporate key carve-outs ahead of time. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer did provide a general outline of Trump's goals to GOP members of the House Ways and Means Committee last week, according to 2 people granted anonymity to discuss the private meeting. Greer also promised Republican senators more certainty on trade policy going forward during their lunch last Tuesday. Tariffs in Kansas often are very harmful to agricultural producers, farmers, and ranchers, said Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas. And we're often the retaliatory target by those we impose tariffs against. Moran said he's planning to push for exclusions to Trump's tariffs to limit the fallout on his home state, where the agricultural sector is already facing some of the worst economic headwinds in years. In the last Trump administration, we were successful in getting to the Department of Commerce the opportunity to have exclusions, and we'll pursue that again, said Moran, also known he chairs the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee that oversees the Commerce Department. Our farmers are stretched. This is one of the worst, certainly maybe the worst time I've seen in agriculture. We need every market. Many MAGA-aligned Republicans in Congress are celebrating this next wave of levies. They say the tariffs work as bargaining tools, aiming to lower trade barriers to U.S. goods in the long term by forcing other countries to the negotiating table. But even some Trump administration officials are nervous about the fallout for key industries, especially American farmers whose livelihoods rely on selling their products abroad. Trump's own agricultural department inquired about securing exemptions for critical agricultural inputs before the White House rolled out 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico earlier this month, according to two people with direct knowledge of the matter who were not authorized to discuss it publicly. The president ultimately changed course just hours later, scaled back the levies on a wider scale. Remember when he put out them tariffs and then a day later he backed off because them two countries came outside and said, okay, we're going to get you. Trudeau said, we're going to tax you right back. And Mexico said, I'm going to go outside in Mexico City and I'm going to tell you what the tariffs look like on a Sunday when you're supposed to be in church. And he said, all right, I'm going to ease back. Administration officials also expect Trump on April 2nd to move ahead with tariffs on foreign agricultural products, something the president floated in a Truth Social post earlier this month. That has some Hill Republicans worrying that such a move would only trigger a new wave of retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. farm sector, plus cut American farmers off from critical export markets abroad where there won't be enough demand for the U.S. to sell all of their goods. Beyond Canada and Mexico, Nebraska Republican Representative Don Bacon said he's heard from meat processors and popcorn producers in his state who have lost market access in Europe in the last week amid Trump's trade tumult. Oh, this is funny. Oh, this is funny. And while Bacon said new reciprocal tariffs may help lower trade barriers to some countries, the immediate result is higher costs for a lot of products. In the end, consumers pay more, and so it's going to raise costs. Ultimately, Bacon said he views Trump's reciprocal tariffs as a negotiating tactic, but even then, look at the ruckus all this causes he had. Our stock market doesn't handle this stuff too well. Correct. Now we go back up, because remember what I said about, where is it? Where they said that they don't know where it's going to hit. Well, I know they're putting ads on this. They don't want this information out. But we do know what countries this is going to affect.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
This is why I said your man needs to stop talking outside. Trump says reciprocal tariffs will target all countries. This came out yesterday. All countries. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday that reciprocal tariffs he is set to announce this week will include all nations, not just a smaller group of 10 to 15 countries with the biggest trade imbalances. Trump has promised to unveil a massive tariff plan on Wednesday, which he has dubbed Liberation Day. He has already imposed tariffs on aluminum, steel, and autos, along with increased tariffs on all goods from China. You'd start with all countries, he told reporters aboard Air Force One. Essentially all the countries that we're talking about. I told you, he doesn't know how to move through bricks with bricks on the board in the global south. He doesn't know how to move. But one of the biggest that they're not talking about, because we know how this is going to look on the world stage, they're lamenting it.
You know, let me go here. There's I'm gonna move on. There's a growing concern.
Yes, the cousins from abroad. Yes, we would be affected by these so-called tariffs. This man named Donald Trump, he does not like us over in the UK. Yes. Donald Trump sensationally snubs Keir Starmer after rejecting PM's request for Britain to be excluded from U.S. tariffs.
We started off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at. And we go to
He looked like he on a toilet. I'm just saying.
taken from us by people sitting behind this desk or another desk that's not quite as nice, but they have their choice of 7, as you know. And we're going to charge countries for doing business in our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe. And frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. And this is very modest. And what we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We started off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at. And we go to 25%. And basically, as you know, and as you've been seeing, not reporting as accurately as it should be reported because it's a massive story. Business is coming back to the United States.
Sir, let me help you. Them businesses already told you that it's not as easy as just coming back. By the way, screenshot. Because that's how he's going to look next year when the Republicans give away power back to the Democrats and he can't do nothing for 2 years. So we're going to put this article in the chat so y'all can read it later. Guess what else is going to get affected? Even though a couple months ago, they were talking about they were so great. Everything's going to be awesome.
You know, let me go here. I'm gonna move on. There's a growing concern.
It was all great a couple months ago, huh? We know the plane crashes didn't help the look. The plane accidents didn't help. Hell, they just had one in DC last week. A Delta plane almost collided with a U.S. Air Force jet. But what is this? Tariffs slam U.S. airlines as travel demand falters. Again, AAPI doing the reporting. And now they added an African. Interesting. U.S. airlines were flying high less than 2 months ago on talk of a new golden age. A strong travel demand and tight industry-wide capacity raised the prospect of a multi-year profit boom. But President Donald Trump's broad tariffs and a crackdown on government spending have upended that optimism. Tourists and companies have reduced spending amid rising economic uncertainty, forcing carriers to cut their first quarter profit forecast. By the way, when they say tourists, there were about 5 countries in Europe who said, based on what Trump's doing with the LGBTQ nonsense, they're telling them people, yeah, you might not want to go US one time. Canada coming outside saying, Canadians saying they're not going to come vacation. I know them fools was running there like, all right, we don't need no Canadians. I'm like, you need them dollars now, don't you? With travel a discretionary item for many consumers and businesses, growing odds of weak economic growth and high inflation have clouded the outlook for the remainder of the year as well. The S&P 500 Passenger Airlines Index is down about 15% this year and widely underperforming the broader S&P 500 index. Shares of Delta and United Airlines have fallen about 20% each this year. Discounted Frontier Airlines is down 2%. Your first needs are food and shelter, and then we're a little bit down the list of expenditures, says David Neeleman, CEO of low-cost carrier Breeze Airways, in an interview. If you don't have a job, you're not going to go buy an airline ticket. With demand slowing, airlines have started culling flights to avoid lowering fares and to protect margins. Frontier, Delta, United, American Airlines, JetBlue, and Allegiant all trimmed their April to June quarterly capacity in the past 2 weeks. United CEO Scott Kirby has warned of a large drop in industry-wide capacity by the second half of August as demand does not rebound. To be sure, bookings for premium and long-haul travel are holding up. United reported 8% year-on-year jump in spring international bookings. Some of the demand slowdown is also due to recent safety incidents. Demand Law Group data shows airplane safety concerns reached an all-time high in February, with Google searches for "Are planes safe now?" up 900%. Airlines expect the hit from safety incidents to fade soon, but they are less sure about economic pressures. U.S. consumer confidence plunged to the lowest level in more than 4 years in March, with future expectations for income, business, and labor market conditions hitting a 12-year low, a conference board survey showed on Tuesday. Income. You know how they were running around talking about how great it is? He's not going to put no tax on tips and overtime. What did I tell them in that live? You're going to work less hours for less money. Why would you accept that? They said you were going to get more money back at the end of the year. Now look at this. Now that was what? September I said that? Here we are, 6 months later. People ain't sure how much money they're going to be making by the end of the year, or if they'll even have a job. Well, look at that. Air tickets sold through U.S. travel agencies fell 8% month on month in February after a 39% jump in January. Both corporate and leisure trips were down. Airlines reporting corp data showed last week. Annual growth in passenger traffic slowed to 0.7% in March from 5% in January, according to U.S. Transportation Security Administration data. Weakening demand is hurting the industry's pricing power. Fares posted their first year-on-year decline in 6 months in February, according to data from the U.S. Labor Department. There's going to be some type of slowdown, Frontier CEO Barry Biffle said in an interview. Airlines are still backing their full-year earnings estimates, but that could change if demand remains weak during summer, usually the industry's most profitable season. I seem to have said this too. But okay. Biffle said much depends on the labor market. As long as the employment is good, the leisure customer will be fine, he said. Jobless claims have only inched up thus far, but inflationary worries are making travelers more cautious. Jacob Brown, 24-year-old Denver school teacher, is flying less, avoiding hotels, and spending less during his trips due to inflation. Brown recently flew to Las Vegas, but took the red-eye flight back to Denver to save on lodging. I'm only traveling when it's an absolute minimum cost. Credit and debit card spending on airlines fell 7.2% in February from a month earlier, and that was the weakest in at least 6 months, according to Bank of America data. Businesses are also sitting tight. The January-March quarter tends to be the busiest period after the July-September quarter for business travel, but bookings have been underwhelming. 2 weeks back, Delta said its corporate bookings growth had dropped to the low single digits after a 10-year year-on-year increase in January. United said this month its government-related travel bookings had halved, adding reduced government spending was having a ripple effect on domestic tourism. Gabe Reezy, president of corporate travel agency Altor, said bookings from government contractors and companies of financial services, renewable energy technology, and manufacturing have declined as much as 10% from a year ago. A lot of government agencies and government subcontractors, which we service, are tightening up the bootstraps, Reezy said. Why not? Just do it on Zoom. Why lodge all of them and fly it out? It doesn't matter if they're not producing steel. The U.K. produces. But we'll show it to you. That's a good question. So this was 2023. Machinery and transport equipment was the main commodity traded with the U.S. in 2023, with 19.9 billion of imports and 27.2 billion of exports. In 2023, the U.K. imported 57.4 billion of services from the United States and exported 126.3 billion of services. 126 billion. Other business services was the main service type traded with the United States. Well, here we go. Cars, turbojets, medication, blood fractions, processed petroleum oils, aircraft or spacecraft parts, alcohol, forklift trucks, crude oil, trucks. Precious metal waste and scrap to build things. Unwrought platinum. Liquid gas checking instruments. Temperature change machines. X-ray equipment. Switches and fuses. Electric motors and generators. Cable. It's a lot of stuff. I know they don't like to tell you this stuff because everybody wants to just focus on the big stuff. You got to look this stuff down. Yeah, we'll put that in there for you one time. Yeah, but we understand that it's 2023, but this is just to show you what's going to happen when he plays them tariff games. They did this in 2024. They did all this data in 2024. This is why I said when you look at these tariffs, you got to look at the little things. That's why I said they'd love to tell you about the avocados and everything else because they know that's what you're going to focus on. You got to focus on this little stuff. This is why I kept drumming to y'all about Home Depot and them. especially with the wood coming from Canada. Screws go up. What does that mean when you have tools that you need going up? That means these contractors and these home improvement people and these fixers, whether it's plumbers or whatever, everything's going to go up. Their rates about to go up. It's going to cost you more. But they're not going to tell you that. That's why they're going to bitch to you about cars. Because they've already drummed in your head that you need a car to get around. Great. They're not going to tell you about what's under the hood that you got to fix. That's going to cost you money. Hell, I went to go do an oil change. I had to put some other stuff on the car. It cost me about $4 and some change, almost $500. And there were still things I had to fix on there too. Your batteries are about to go up. Oh, you don't believe me? I figured you didn't. Mm. 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 I'm gonna let y'all read that. Just read that headline one time. By the way, Energizer, some of them batteries are made in Singapore. Import. Rayovac. Now they make it here, but nobody buys them. Because it's cheaper. Duracell tells you on the pack they're made here, but they use foreign and domestic materials. Tariff. Mm. See, Trump and them like to tell you, oh, we're bringing back the manufacturing, right? They love to tell you that. But they're not telling you is the materials that got to come from overseas. And them folk already going to tell you, we rather not deal with that. We're just going to keep it where it's at. We'll just have to offload the cost onto the consumer. And unfortunately, if you got kids, this one is going to appeal to you. And you're really about to get pissed off.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Can Trump's tariffs bring apparel factories back to the U.S.? It's complicated. Domestic manufacturers added 10,000 jobs last month, despite a 1,200 person decline at apparel factories. Trump wasted no time taking credit for the industry's overall gains, knowing the last year of President Joe Biden's administration saw losses of 9,000 a month on average. Since the beginning of NAFTA, there have been 90,000 plants and factories closed in this country, said Trump, referring to the North American Free Trade Agreement, which launched in 1994. That's a terrible statistic, and we're going to be turning that around. Employment in U.S. Apparel manufacturing has plummeted to less than 1/10 of what it was 35 years ago, down to 83,500 workers from the 924,900 in the payrolls in 1990, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. To try and reverse the manufacturing trend, Trump has ratcheted up or threatened tariffs on countries of specific goods, 20% on shipments from China, 200% on champagne. Champagne. 200%. Because Americans are just consuming champagne every day. Champagne. Morris Goldfarb, chairman and chief executive officer of Donna Karan and Karl Lagerfeld parent G3 Apparel Group, said just over 30% of the company's goods are now made in China. That's less than half of what the company was making in China before it diversified. Now, 76% of its products come from China, Vietnam, or Indonesia. Goldfarb expects to have to raise prices in the mid to high single-digit range, holding steady for $5 t-shirts and making up for it with $5 to $10 bump on more expensive coats. G3's production might move between countries, but the CEO doesn't see it coming back to the U.S., where the company got its start in New York's garment district. Goldfarb said he understands the value of producing domestically with quicker turns and the ability to respond to trends. But the likelihood of anything scalable happening in the sector that we operate in is not very good, he said. I don't believe we can build scale to replace what we import. We'd love to support our own country. We look at opportunities regularly. We visit states to see the locations that are available, the labor force, all of it. And it doesn't add up to the scale that we need in the diverse classifications we produce. Corporations are bigger than the government. The U.S. spent more than 3 decades trading away its apparel production capacity, and bringing it all back would be the project of years, even if it were Washington's top priority. But there are pockets of potential. Bayard Winthrop, CEO of the Made in USA brand American Giant, said there's plenty of capacity to make knit goods like t-shirts and sweatshirts in the U.S., even for big brands. There's a lot of companies that can make t-shirts and sweatshirts in the U.S., ones that can do it at scale, Winthrop said. That knowledge, those connections, those relationships take time, but it's there. That is a question of networking and spending some time getting people out in the field and learning the lay of the land, standing up in a facility. American Giant is an example of that, since the brand last year inked a deal to start selling Made in USA cotton t-shirts in 1,700 Walmart stores. I don't know, he probably wrote this on his phone. He wrote doors. The Walmart line went from 0 to hundreds of thousands of units, and Winthrop said there was no friction in the supply chain at all. We had some friction on the needle, but none in the supply chain, he said. That gives you a sense. Winthrop said brands and retailers willing to make longer-term order commitments could start selling domestically made t-shirts in as little as 6 months. The kicker is cost. While Walmart sells some t-shirts made overseas for $4.98, the retailers' American Giant t-shirts go for $12.98. Winthrop pinned much of that on the cost of workers in the U.S. What did I tell them in that live? That's why they go overseas. The labor's cheaper. They're not going to pay you to work here. Just like the same thing with the farmer. I said, when y'all pay them the fair wage, they'll go outside and pick the fruit. They'll pick the vegetables, but they won't do it because it's going to cut into their profits. Using back of the envelope math, he said a specialty store in the U.S. selling an imported t-shirt for $25 is probably seeing a 70 to 80% margin, with about $6 of input costs, including $3 for labor. $3. Where cents all over the world, but you know. In the U.S., labor will cost 2 to 3 times as much. If margin requirements remain the same, maybe it becomes a $35 t-shirt instead of $25, he said. So the t-shirt can be made, but it could be a tough sell to consumers at the mass level. There's been a structural shift towards much cheaper stuff, Winthrop said, and the consumer base has gotten conditioned for that because you sold us out to China in the 70s. Diverse classifications. That means you have the raw materials. You can make your t-shirts, but you can also make sweatshirts. You can make coats. You can make pants. You can make socks. You can make hats. You can make the gloves. You can make the scarves. Dresses. See, what doesn't cost for them is the material, because again, they buy it on wholesale, so they'll get it cheap, pennies on the dollar. What's going to cost is what they want to create. T-shirts, everybody needs it. That's cheap. It's easy to make. Less material. Once you get to, like I said, gloves, you get to them hats, them scarves, the coats, the sweatshirts, then you need more labor time, cost them more. So that's why he said he has to bump it $5 to $10, especially on sweatshirts, because he knows when these tariffs really hit, it's going to be fall season, late summer to the winter. That's when everybody's going to start buying that stuff. They need to make their money. This is beautiful. This is the winning MAGA told us about. Brands also have gotten away from the factory. They're not manufacturing businesses anymore. Winthrop said of the big importers. They're not in the business of making clothes. They're in the business of real estate transactions and marketing. True. They're only worried about buying factories, buying space. They spend more money on building ad space, because you know when you go overseas, especially the Far East, there's ads everywhere. They have them in buildings. They have them on the side of building. They have them on their digital billboards. Bus stops everywhere, especially in Korea. And so to go build back in that capacity is really, really hard and expensive. And so it looks to them like this is very daunting. Impossible task is going to be more expensive. Winthrop said that when brands say you can't do this, do that, or this, what they really mean is outside of our zone of capability, our zone of expertise. But that U.S. production expertise does exist in some areas. Kevin McCarter, president and owner of Clover Knits in Clover, South Carolina, bought the company in 2000. Back then, it was as much as you could make, as fast as you could make it, McCarter said. And then there's this thing called free trade broke out, which is inevitable. It's a global economy, and it was going to happen. So our customer base just totally changed. Clover Knits still does some basic fabrics for apparel, but it does a lot more technical fabrics for things like flame retardant workwear. And for those who've been paying attention, the last 15 years, you've seen the rise of workwear popping up everywhere. Those overalls, those workman boots, the industrial gloves. Hell, you're starting to even see them in regular department stores, because it's so tough that people use it for their own domestic uses. Tariffs aren't always helpful for U.S. producers who themselves are plugged into international supply chains. We have a lot of customers who do business in Canada and Mexico, he said. They might have a fabric that they have a special process that they apply in Canada. If they ship it up there, if they ship it back with a 25% tariff, you could do the math. Dyes also come from overseas and are subject to tariffs. Who's ready to pay more money for colored clothes? I say again, who's ready to pay more for colored clothes? But the increase in duties out of Washington has helped generate some interest. But we have received some calls with folks saying, hey, we want you to make a sample, give us pricing, and let's see what works. McCarter said, I don't think everything can be made here now. That's probably not going to be as cost competitive if you're competing against very low labor rates. But there are some apparel programs that certainly can be made here, from t-shirts that are fairly simple and then fleece products that are fairly simple. Bottom line is there is capacity. We get calls from brands all the time, and we did during C19, McCarter said. We did a huge fleece program for a big name store when they were having trouble getting container loads of garments set, and was at a price premium. It was probably 30% more than their imported styles. 40% more, he said. And they advertised it made in USA. And those things sold out in the holidays quicker than anything did. I tried to go out and buy some garments and they were all sold out. Nasty. Mm, mm, mm. By the way, one more thing. Ooh. Do you know the internet's going to go up too? It's already starting in the UK. Mm. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. They're going to tell you they don't believe you. You need the proof. There you go. Electronics and computers. And when computers go up, that means the internet's going to go up. Your electricity bill is going to go up. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How much you want to bet what's going to piss him off on Wednesday when he does that press conference? He's going to announce that electricity is probably going to go up. See, they said this on April 12th that they're backing off. How much you want to bet we're going to find out on April 2nd? Nah, he gonna put a tariff on the electricity. Oh yeah, y'all's ladies thongs and y'all's bras finna go up. Y'all might have to be outside with y'all might have to be butt naked underneath your clothes. I'm just saying. Oh, you know what? Should I be a dick? I think I'm gonna be a dick. Women, unfortunately, your hygiene products are gonna go up because they're imported. Oops. I ain't want to tell y'all that. Y'all gonna slap me whenever you meet me. I know. Yeah. I'm just a messenger. Your makeup. They got their lobbyists right now in DC making sure that the makeup don't go up. Maybe it's Maybelline. No, maybe it's a tariff, motherfucker. This was the winning MAGA told us that was going to happen. Oh, Dollar Tree already got hit, Damon, so that's not an option. Joanne Fabric is closing all over the place. Y'all might have to learn how to make your own clothes again. This is probably not gonna go, but we're gonna let y'all speak. Motor oil's going up. But it's okay, family. You're ahead of the curve now. So you'll know. One thing I want to look up. Let me see. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Where my two-way people at? Where y'all at? Where my two-way people? Bingo. Did you know a lot of the ammo and the gun stuff come from China? China makes tons and tons of stuff in the firearms arena. We can't import most Chinese guns, but shotguns seem to be allowed. No ammo is coming from China, but tons of small electronics are imported. Optics, lights, lasers, and more have massively varying qualities. There's a 10% import tax on the products. We could expect to see a price increase. This might move some of the price here. Holosun products like the Trigicon loophole realm. Woof. And you know they love their sights. The 32 calibers, heh. And the primers, okay. Don't panic yet. Yeah, wait till the winter time when y'all want to go out and hunt and you can't get it. Then y'all gonna scream. Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right.
I'm not all right because my state farm. You telling me my state farm insurance is about to go up, sir? It just went down.
Well, you should hope your North Carolina legislature says, "Nah, you're not gonna raise it."
I mean, my renewed plan just started this month, so hopefully I should be good for the next 6 months. But still, I just got it under $200.
Mm-hmm.
Under $200. Now you're telling me it's gonna go right back up to $200. Ah, damn.
Well, it depends on what they negotiate.
I don't trust anything North Carolina people do. I really, really don't. They don't know what the hell they be doing most of the time. Not even half the time. It's most of the time. Ain't no damn sense. Oh, man. So, what was something else I wanted to ask you about? What was going to go up? Oh, yeah, you just mentioned the guns. So, ain't most of the, gun makers here, allegedly, they say they make their guns here, but they have their guns made in, like, for example, Brazil? Because that's where my gun is from, allegedly.
It's an import, is it not?
Yeah. It was made. It's a gun company in Georgia that basically is the product of a Georgia company not store, but company. But everything was made in Brazil. Mostly everything was made in Brazil. So that stuff is gonna go up.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. So these damn companies be just straight up lying about where they get their stuff from.
No, what they tell you is it's made in the USA, but they source the products from they assemble it here. They source the materials from other places.
So why don't they get the stuff from here, or is the stuff not here?
The stuff is not here. Most of the stuff they need is imported.
Damn. Good job, America. Good job. Ah, damn. We can't have nothing good around here.
Well, again, corporations sold out to open up their companies to bigger markets, got too much power, and then said, screw it, we're locked in now. We can't come back.
That happened in the 70s, right?
Mm-hmm. Mid 70s. That's when they started selling out to China, because China said they wanted to start having more Western products. So they said, okay. And that opened up Europe, and that also opened up the Far East.
So wasn't Reagan in office? Not Reagan, but
No, that was more
Nixon.
Ford. That was Ford.
Ford. Okay, I had to think about it. It was either Ford, Nixon, somebody. I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
Ford and Nixon and Eisenhower. They all set that in motion. Reagan just accelerated it.
Oh, he made it go faster.
Mm-hmm.
But why conservatives love him so much for?
Reagan, because Reagan knew how to talk. Reagan punked Gorbachev.
That was the guy.
They only like him because he had a landslide.
That was his first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He had a landslide.
Yeah, I remember.
That's where the birth of MAGA was from.
Allegedly.
No, he started MAGA. He came up with the phrase. Trump just stole it.
Yeah, but technically he was the one that was kind of pushing immigration too.
Mm-hmm. Well, he did that to screw Castro.
Yeah,
and screw the Russians. And he was like, "Fine, okay, take them."
Yeah, cause he basically accelerated immigration. Him and Bush, older Bush, not baby Bush, but yeah, everybody don't like baby Bush, but we're not gonna go there right now. But I don't know, man. At least my groceries wasn't that expensive today. That's all I can say. I try to shop smart. I need to go back to the farmer's market. Well, I'll go back.
Well, they're gonna get hit too in the summertime.
Everything's gonna get hit in the summertime, especially gas. Cause everybody like to travel. Cause gas right now is $2.64 to $2.79 where I'm at right now. So it'd be about probably $3.30 by Memorial Day.
Not that high. Probably for you, it's probably gonna be like maybe 3.09.
Which isn't that bad. I know some people are like that. Yeah, I got $2 gas down here. Yeah, North Carolina got some cheap ass gas. It is what it is.
Oh yeah, y'all's rental cars going up.
How the rental car? Never mind. I just thought about it. Never mind. Oh,
hotels are gonna go up.
Not about to say Airbnb. They supposed to be going out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Everything's going out of business. Made no sense. But I can't wait for the live at 6 o'clock. So that's gonna be.
Oh yeah.
And then what Ms. Lisa Cabrera talked about, was it a couple of days ago? That was funny. Well, not funny. It just made everything worse. That whole situation is just worse. But I'm gonna go on and land my plane so you can go ahead and get ready for 6 o'clock, sir.
All right. Fun times. Oh, by the way, that scumbag answered me back and said all I did was play a stream, and all I did was on my stream prove that what he did was not okay. I'm like, I literally proved it. We literally proved it. But you let them talk long enough, they show you how dumb they are. Look, he's still asking what threat. Since we got to tell him. Oh, okay. Since we got to tell him one time, I had to tell him. Yeah, I mean, what threat was she posing? I said she was going through a window after being told multiple times to stop. Why did she have a foldable knife on her person in a restricted federal building? Yeah, it sounds like a threat. But anyway, I'm going to go rest. About an hour and a half, I will be on the line with Brother Torian Rain, and we're going to have fun. So hopefully you learned something. If you did, I've done my job. If not, I'll try to be better next time. Just prepare yourself. We got about 36 hours before these tariffs. Just prepare yourself. But anyway, we'll see you later. Y'all take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence.
Time's up.
But did we have a good time here? Hello?
Gotta get your groove on.
At the end of the day gotta end.
That's it.